I know you, Leo, by the tall way you stand, by the fierce pride that singles you out from the crowd and sets you in the center of the stage, and by your dignity, and by every person's need to be acknowledged and applauded. I know you by all the things that make men desire to be noble, the need to be big, to reach high, to live generously, and your belief that life is a great and glorious adventure.
I have seen you, Leo, with your large lion's heart in your generous hand, wearing your sun crown, assuming command, leading, believing in people, and asking only that they believe in you so you can get the best from each other.
I have heard you, Leo, trying to give wings to words, attempting to make language important, truly telling every man, loser and winner alike, that he does have worth, speaking for all people in all times, knowing it is all part of a great design.
Leo, your word is noble, from the Latin nobilis, which also means outstanding.
If you think you know more than the teacher, if you have the notion that the boss's chair is the possible end to be gained, if you have the Iago desire to see the noble crumble, don't work for a Leo. He leads, you follow. He talks, you listen. He knows and you learn, and if it doesn't go that way, it won't go at all, because he doesn't crumble. You're working for a benevolent dictator who wears the mantle of leadership as naturally as most people wear their skin. He has a genius for knowing what you do best and how you fit into his plan. He can praise lavishly and criticize severely and never be embarrassed. You, however, would be wise to withhold criticism, but never compliments. This is a generous leader with a big view and a towering ego. If your penchant for details is strong and your ambitions modest, he's your kind of boss.
If the position you have open relegates the employee to some dark corner where he will toil unseen and unsung, should you believe that a worker should be seen and not heard, or heard and not seen, don't hire a Leo. This is not the native who leads a life of quiet desperation. He's a walking splash of color, and he must be recognized in order to function. His loyalty is unquestionable, his dignity unassailable, his ego insufferable. But he normally can do 8 hours' work in one, and his staying power is a thing of wonder. Just never forget to remind him that you know he's there, and you'll have a prince of an employee. What makes Leo proud? The sun is Leo's planet, majestic, positive, masculine, commanding the sky, warming the earth, conspicuously placing the native high in the center, inspiring nobility of purpose, largeness of view, and causing others to look to the lion for leadership and inspiration.
What makes Leo vital? The sun rules the heart, and the dominant heart makes the blood flow. The sun, the source of energy and light, pours life and the love of life into the bloodstream until it is bursting through the pores of the skin for all to see and to feel.
What makes Leo liberal? The inspiration of the sun creates pride, graciousness, and generosity. And as the sun gives warmth and life in abundance, so the lion is compelled to give of himself, feeling the more you give, the more you become.
What makes Leo? Pride. For the sun rules Leo, and the sun is king. When the sun is in Leo and the moon is in Aries, this is a case of using fire to help fire. The fiery pride of Leo and the incandescent aggressiveness of Aries has courage as the common denominator. There is strength of conviction in your destiny to lead. Your initial victory, however, must be over the intensity of your personal relationships, because the true leader must be bigger than any single part of his life. Once you accomplish this, yours is life lived to its fullest dimensions.
Leo's open, generous hand is closed somewhat by the moon in Taurus, but your love of pleasure is deepened. Your idealism is toughened and the lion's large view narrowed because of a tendency to get hung up on small things. However, there is great strength and foresight in this combination, plus the force and ability to make the wheels of business turn at your command. And the larger the view, the more readily the wheels will turn.
The lion with a Gemini moon is a lion who likes jungles to roam in, whether in thought or action. He begins with a desire to prowl, investigate, and to test. Then he likes to emerge and tell the world of the things he's seen, learned, and felt. The Leonian capacity to feel, coupled with the alert Gemini mind, makes him the perfect combination to express and to make himself heard by a large audience.
The sun in Leo and the moon in Cancer results in a native whose home is most surely his castle. It is a place dedicated to comfort and love. Leo's need to impress and to live in the whole world is tempered by the domestic instincts of the crab. This is the sign of basic human needs elevated to living that resembles art. It is a combination of the best values of mind and emotions, honestly expressed with love.
The natural inclination of Leo is to be bigger than life. With the moon in Leo, you are not only bigger than life, but above it and outside of it. For yours is a cold fire which combines vitality and detachment. With you, what people see is not necessarily what they've got. Your natural gravitation is upward towards high places or highly placed people. But even as you move into the world and through it, you are reluctant to let the world get too close to you.
The legendary Leonian pride takes on a more intellectual dimension when the moon is in Virgo. You take more pride in what you think than in what others think of you. Yours is more isolation than independence. You're known by everyone to be critical of everything around you. What is not known is that you are secretly most critical of yourself. Your star gets off the ground when you are inspired by creative and intellectual goals.
The moon in Libra creates a warm-hearted lion, whose reason for living is essentially people, and whose need is to be close to them. This need dominates the existence. Yours is indeed a love combination. Love of individuals, beauty, anything that springs from the human heart, which fortunately your mind is strong enough to understand and your heart is big enough to encompass. You are what is known as a benevolent leader.
The sun-shot lion with the emotional moon in Scorpio results in a wild, intense consumer of people, passions, and possessions. In your journey, however, nothing defeats like excess. For without control, you can burn yourself out with the heat of living. Yours is a subjective world of primitive drives, which when focused and contained, can elevate the native to true greatness.
The optimism of Leo plus the optimism of Sagittarius makes you a life lover and leaves no space between the impulse and the act. The native flies with the speed of light in any direction that his fancy takes him. And sometimes his fancy takes him in too many directions at the same time. When he finally decides on one, he can do anything. But one of anything is difficult for him to decide on.
The sun in Leo and the moon in Capricorn indicates the native born to lead. Once your goal is defined and your plan is conceived, there is only one possibility, and that is success. You can attain whatever you project, and obstacles crumble when you attack. A king is a leader. An ambitious king is an absolute ruler.
The Leonian moon in Aquarius is inspiration's child, and your imagination can conquer reality and create significant contributions in many areas. The opposition of sun to moon provides the native with intuitive abilities, which tunes you into people and makes you capable of good judgment and deep compassion. This is a poet's sign, and brings with it all the elements of idealism, sensitivity, and the need to express.
Sun in Leo, moon in Pisces. The sensitivity of this meeting produces a highly susceptible native. You are a humanist in all aspects of your life. The Pisces compassion, fused with the lion's need to make his wishes known, manifests in someone who rises in order to serve. For you are aware that if there is one forgotten man, no man is worth remembering. The number 1 in the Kabbalah is called the crown, and Leo's primary purpose is to rule. 1 is the numerical sign of originality, and the lion's seal is indelibly stamped on everything he does. 1 is the number of unity, and Leo's large view unites all the pieces into one picture. 1 is energy and essence expressed in all things, and Leo of the Sun expresses the essence and energy of life. 1 is the indicator or beginning, an initiative, reflecting I am and I will, the two driving forces within the lion. 1 is the sign of the solitary onlooker, and Leo, alone and isolated, can see it all. One is the world of the future, a world that Leo can envision from his high place.
As the ruby is rare and warm because it is filled with color, deep and rich, it is Leo's stone. The ruby is a command to the eyes to behold and appreciate, and this is the lion's message. Rubies are found in the palaces of kings, in their crowns and on their fingers. They say, "Look at me, I have worth, I am special," just as Leo says. For he cannot tolerate being overlooked, underrated, or outclassed. But rubies are ornamental, a sign of vanity, pomp, and circumstance. And the lion has this to remind him that showing off is one thing, and growing up is another.
Color, Leo, orange and yellow. As orange-yellow as the sunrise or sunset that illuminates the beginning and the end of the day. as orange-yellow as the golden scepter in the hand of the ruler. For the lion must be king in his jungle, whatever his jungle may be. You, Leo, must remember that to lead is to serve not yourself, but others. And power is not a gift, but a loan that can be easily reclaimed.
So, Leo, be the one that leads. Be as rich and obvious as the ruby. Follow the sun as high as you can go. Only, remember the ancient myth of the god-man who flew too close to the sun and melted his wings?
In love, Leo? It's the talk of the town. And you're doing most of the talking. This is the greatest, grandest, most glorious, romantic happening in all the history of lovers. This isn't a simple affair of the heart. It's a Rodin statue, a Sistine Chapel, a 14-karat gold ruby-studded temple of pleasure which outdoes the Taj Mahal.
In love with a Leo man, my girl? You are about to become a tasty dish to set before the king, and you'll really be appreciated. Get your hair styled, lay in a supply of perfume, wrap your royal skin in silks, satins, and fur, and take your vitamins. It's showtime. And every night is opening night. Not yours, his. The star is Leo, but you have the royal box seat. However, don't think he's blinded by the footlights or the spotlight. He'll have one eye on you all the time. You're the king's favorite. And if you can handle the role, you could make queen. One thing is sure, every head waiter in town will know your name. Leo is a big spender with a big need.
In love with a Leo girl, my man? Can you keep your head while all about you are losing theirs over your lady? The word for the lioness is style. Her style places her in the center of the room and makes her a target for every man on the scene. This pussycat likes the best of everything that's happening now. She is a social lioness with a flair for being in. If the limelight is too bright for you, well, she may be too much for you. Also, you better believe that the age of chivalry is not dead, and that romance is a very real reality. For this is a love lady, and the secret to holding her is a cool head and a very warm heart. If you prove otherwise, you'll be saying, "Pussycat, pussycat, where have you been?" And your answer will probably be, "A yawn."
Out of love, Leo? Again, Leo? You'll recover. But it doesn't seem possible. I mean, it was so big and... Well, next time try an Aries or a Sagittarius. And try to remember, a thing doesn't have to be too much to be important. Just enough.
Leo begins with an insatiable need to be known, respected, and adored. He will go to any extremes to ensure his need is satisfied. This is a child whose faith in human beings is difficult to destroy. People, in fact, have such worth in his eyes that he literally lives and dies on the basis of their approval or denial. The Leo cub senses from the start that he will one day assume the throne and all the attendant responsibilities. So he must be affirmed and reaffirmed until he believes he is worthy of this place in the sun. In his youth, he will alternate between testing his powers of leadership and withdrawing in the fear that he will be weighed and found wanting. This is one native who must find his own way, for he will inherit all the aloneness of leadership.
In his second season, the lion moves towards the spotlight he longs for. His tendency is to substitute personality for activity, and he may appeal to unworthy audiences and be applauded for the wrong reasons. Instead of giving to people inspired leadership, he makes a mirror of them, in which he can see his own glorious reflection and escape his real purpose.
In his third season, after postponing his destiny, the mature lion is ready to assume command. His belief in his worth rises until he gains recognition for the person he truly is and for the values he most deeply possesses. A grasp of the big idea, the ability to find the best man for the job, a faith in people that inspires them above and beyond the call of duty, and a dignity and courage that is unshakable.
In his last season, the old lion, a proud lion with a grand manner and a great deal of wisdom, still is master of all he surveys. And there is still an adoring audience waiting for him to rise from a luxurious sleep and shine for them. It seems as though this sun will never lose its fire or brilliance, and if it did, no one would ever know. The lion wouldn't let them. For Leo, man or woman alike, to become is to be proud, and they know the profound satisfaction of having won without ever having lost dignity.
I believe that cosmic religious sense is one of the strongest and noblest motives behind scientific research. Albert Einstein. I hold it for certain that the celestial bodies have in them certain other influences besides heat and light. I have practiced astrology, and you have not. If I do not condemn it, how can you presume to do so? Sir Francis Bacon. It is the stars above us, governs our conditions. William Shakespeare. Ye stars, which are the poetry of heaven, in your bright leaves we would read the fate of men and empires. Lord Byron. Astrology is astronomy brought down to earth and applied to the affairs of man. Ralph Waldo Emerson. We of the fixed stars have rejected the message of the wanderers of the sky. Do they not tell us of things to come as well as of things long past, buried in the racial memory of man? Henry Miller. It is the very error of the moon. She comes more near to earth than she was wont, and makes men mad. From Othello by William Shakespeare. We are born at a given moment, in a given place. And like vintage years of wine, we have the qualities of the year and the season in which we are born. Astrology does not lay claim to anything more. Carl Jung.